Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing? I am happy to be here. Go ahead and put this on here. Today I am going to be working on going back to the good old skeleton. Got a little bit of flower work that I want to do, and some of the lines that I've done, while they've stayed in, they've been very well executed. I still want to go back and kind of bold up a couple of things. So there's a little bit of work that I want to do to it. Not a whole lot. I mean, I say not a whole lot, but there'll be some finessing here and there as far as like putting things together. So let me go ahead and see. Boy, as paired as one thinks they are. Sometimes you just find out that you're not. No, I have the webcam set up to where it would show my my thigh when propped up properly, or my calf. But we're going to be working on the good old top of the knee because I have not yet learned my lesson of what pain actually is. I have though. Whenever I worked the color at the top of the knee last time, like that was horrid. That was like the worst thing ever. The worst thing that I've done is put sunburst. Hey, what's up, Cat? What's going on, Turkey Noodle? I thought you wouldn't be able to make it, man. I thought you said you were busy. I appreciate you guys showing up. Appreciate the support. As always, you guys are super awesome. For real. Um, yeah. So let me see. Let's just go ahead. So I will say, I am going to be using this bad boy now. I really like. Hey, how you doing, Sonny? I really like the pin. I'll go ahead and show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is my newer machine, and I really do enjoy this thing. Like it's got a good heft to it. There's no wrong way for me to hold it. So super awesome. Um, but it doesn't have the same throw of the needle as what this does. So this thing like really like super excited about the little jawbone, the skull jawbone that I did a couple of days ago. It looks really good. It still looks really good. Nothing's fallen out. I mean, I have been doing a lot of good aftercare on it, which I should be doing for all my tattoos, but I haven't. I'll just be honest. So, but I mean, it's still really bold. It's still really black. And I use this machine because I was reading up on the just different configurations of some machines and why, there's some companies out there, they charge like $1,000 for a liner, and then they charge $1,000 for a packer, a color packer, and then they charge $1,000 for a shader. And each one of these machines, they all look very similar. They're similar in design, shape, size, whatever, color, whatever. Like they all, like you could lay them all out and I wouldn't be able to tell any of them from any of the rest of them. And you wouldn't be able to without looking at very small lettering on it to see what it is that it is. But this guy actually has a similar throw to, well, there's a little setting on this wheel here that I can go all the way up to 5 millimeters, which is like the maximum throw that you would ever want to use, all the way down to like half a millimeter, which is the lowest that you would ever. I mean, there's no. I don't even know if color would stay, if ink would stay at that point. Um, knowing that and doing a little bit of research and finding out like what the importance of the throw was, I decided to use this on one of my later tattoos and found it to be absolutely just insanely good for packing a nice strong line, really thick. I'm talking like probably a centimeter thick line, and I can show that to you guys just to let you see how it is healing up, because I think it's been a couple of days, probably four days. And I mean, it takes about 2 weeks for a tattoo to heal if it's in good shape. But yeah, so I am going to be using this one today, just for a little bit of color, tiny bit of color, because I only have a little bit that I have to do, and then for some, going over some areas where I can bold up, some of the line work that I've already laid down a couple of times now, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and see what it is that we got here. There's my good trusty chair. So this is the one that I was working on before, that I used this particular machine for. And like I said, I mean, this thing is flawless. Like there is very little trauma. Honestly, like it doesn't feel raised up at all. It didn't even after I worked with it. Very little trauma to the skin. Super dark, pack of color in there. As fine a detail as I wanted with the needle set, the cartridges that I was using. I mean, this thing did phenomenal. So I'm gonna try it out again on a smaller piece. See how I can get this in the shot. There we go. Now I am going to have to stretch this out a little bit just to be able to get in there. Let's see if I can. There we go. Of course, it doesn't want to focus just right off the bat. But so I'm going to go over some of these areas on the outside where the rose is. Maybe add a little bit more black in there, right around here. But primarily, what I'm going to be working on is this area here. Come on. Come on. Focus, focus, focus. Anyway. Um a little punk. We can get you to focus that way. Yeah, so I'll be going in a little bit and just kind of thickening up the lines on the outside of these things. And then first and foremost, I'm gonna put a little bit of the color in there. Now, forget me nots are a really light blue. I didn't mix a really light blue because if you've watched any of I'd say the last week or so, kind of gone back to black and just black work, and especially like the jawbone, how that's just there's not even any gray in there. I did a really what's the word I'm looking for? Really out of my reach, I'll say, a very lofty goal of doing a white packed snake with a black snake kind of intertwined with one another. And it was a huge mistake. Not because, I mean, white ink is difficult, but there's so many intricacies of it that I still hadn't learned my lesson at the time. Thank you, Turkey Noodle, for helping me realize after the fifth or sixth time of telling me, hey, lay off the white. There's so many intricacies to it that I just tore up my leg. So the other leg is still like that calf is still shin, I should say, is still healing. And whenever it gets a little bit better, I'll go back and kind of touch things up, maybe with a gray. But since then, like I've been trying to lay off white as much as possible, even in my mixes. So I'm going to be using a kind of a darker blue, but it will fade over time. All the needles that I'm using, I only plan on using two of these most likely. But I will be going using this round shader, this 9 round shader for the bolder lines. I have a 7, no, this is the 5 round shader right here for inside the flowers because they kind of fade off a little bit to a white. And I do have a gray outline here, so we'll see how that how that turns up, if it helps out or not. And then I have a 7 round shader if I need to go in and do any additional shadow work or anything like that. Like I'll be able to do that. So I already know that there's going to be some tender areas right around here at the top of the knee, because whenever I did this little sunburst, skyburst kind of thing behind the cloud, um, this was probably the most painful thing that I've done to date. And I'm not looking forward to making something matchy on the other leg just yet. So, but yeah. So 5, 7, and 9 round shaders. I'm going to go ahead and pull out this 5. Lovely sound of something that's been uh, sterilized. And I'm going to go ahead and put that right in here. And then I don't know how far this thing's actually going to protrude the needle from uh, the tip of the cartridge itself. That's a little bit far for me. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Um, Yeah, I mean, you kind of see the white line. It's a little bit, you know, a little bit crazy, but that's a little bit too far. So I'm going to back it off that just a tad. And now this doesn't change the throw. This is where I've been getting confused on things. Like it doesn't change the throw of the needle, but it does change how far it protrudes. So the needle is actually moving from start to finish on this particular setting about 4.5 millimeters. So kind of far, but I'm working at a little bit of a lower speed, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. And I will go ahead and yeah, go ahead and give this a little bit of a go, and we'll see how things work out. Hope everyone's doing okay. I realize that, Kat, you probably don't celebrate Memorial Day, a very American holiday. I don't know if you guys have something similar to it or not. But today is our Memorial Day, a celebration of the military members in the past who have given all, if you will. Oh, yeah, that's terrible. I just realized something. This is another one of those times where I go right back to the to this look because I don't want you guys to see me shave my darn legs again. Keep forgetting. It's very important. Very important. The last thing I want is another set of ingrown hairs. So I'll just go ahead and shave that area all around there. And as exciting and wonderful as it might look, me shaving my legs, I don't still not comfortable with that. I saved that footage for my OnlyFans account and slow it down a whole lot, and then put pictures of feet in it because I know how dudes love feet. So just kidding. But if I was smart, that's what I would do. Because dudes love feet. I don't know what that is. What's that? What's that about? I don't. I'm not a big, not a big foot guy. I like small feet. I think that's cool, but that's just because no one's interested in like duck feet, right? Plat, 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 flopping around while they walk around the house. Y'all don't have to participate in this. This is all rhetorical. Y'all can just wait for me to dig a hole, and we'll go we'll go from there. All right. Anyway, back to the tattooing. Yes, I do have one blue flower. Yeah, I know. I think that's what everyone's doing. Like, oh, where's it going with this? Where's it going? Don't worry. Nowhere terribly exciting. I have a veritable shit ton of tattoos now. Um, Not really what I was expecting. I look at the camera and I'm like, oh yeah, got all this cool ass artwork going on. Pretty excited about it. I don't think a lot of people can. I don't think a lot of people can identify with just having like you know this weird patchwork of art. But I really like this blue. I think it's Country Blue. I think is the name of it. Um, I don't know. You guys can probably see it, but it's very light. Even after I wipe it away, like it looks a little bit dark, but that's I'm stabbing myself, right? So of course it's going to be a little dark. This is like one of my favorite things to do actually is the very small things. I don't know why. Um, I think a lot of people would find this thing, that this is a little daunting, right? Like, how do you get in there and you make sure that you get everything that you're supposed to get? But it is something really enjoyable about the. Even though this is like a medium-sized piece overall, I would say, maybe medium, small, medium. It's still like it's just it's got so much personality to it. I'm really excited about it. It's not as painterly as some of the stuff I've done. This is one of my first designs that I did, so it's a lot of room for improvement, but at the same time, like it's also just so much fun. There's not a lot of people that have tiny but intricate, you know, designs on them. So, and color is like it's totally not my forte. Um, definitely a weak spot for me. Um, and that's okay. Like I understand. I understand what my weak spots are. I know what it takes to get better. And for the most part, it's practice and generally somebody giving you a skilled helpful hand. But I don't really don't have that option currently. So most of the learning that I do, I mean, yeah, I do look at some YouTube videos, but for the most part, like I'd say I don't even watch a ton of those for instruction so much as looking, just doing it and then looking to see uh, what other people have done. I know that sounds crazy, but like once you've done something, like like you can paint on a panel and be like, okay, this is a face. These are some trees, like that's a cloud, and it might look like really, it might look really good, or it might look really infantile. But then you look at the Mona Lisa and you're like, ah, yes, I know that, Leonardo da Vinci, like Leonardo of Vinci, he faded this in, or he took that out, or he did this, or he did that. Not saying that you can do it by any means. I mean, maybe you can, but you can definitely look at somebody else's finished artwork and be like, okay, I get it. I know what they did to make that happen. That's kind of how I've been learning to tattoo. Like, I get it. I understand. I really do. Like, they must have used, this kind of shading and this kind of needle. They're running at this voltage. Like, it's all like trial and error for me more than it is anything else at this point. And that's okay. I mean, I'll say I've learned a lot, but I mean, in all honesty, like really what it's been about is accepting my own mistakes on things. So sometimes you just like you make a mistake and then you're like, well, that's not the end of it. I just got to drive on. Or now would be a good time to stop and rethink what it was that I was working on. So I know these flowers they look a little bit dark. Um, Everything lightens up like it's insane. I've seen some of my tattoos that have been like very much like you know dark gray, and I've been able to look at them a little while later, and it's like, yeah, that's barely even visible. Like it's such a subtle shadow. I'm so proud of my subtle shadow. I don't know if you guys heard the phone ring just then. It's my daughter. She's calling. She's still hanging out with friends in Florida. More power to her, man. Yeah, that's what I'd want to be doing on my summer break. So much cooler than hanging out in Georgia. Old Georgia. Not that there's anything wrong with Georgia. It's just not, there's no beach here and we don't have Disneyland. We have this shitty game, like this golf. I don't know if you're into golf. I used to be into golf. I used to play golf. Uh, actually got a little bit of, I won't say scholarship, but got a little recognition on my scholarship for playing the game kind of good back in high school and then college. Um, but I didn't want to tell anyone what my secret was because I was kind of ashamed of it. But I'll tell you guys, in case you're not good at golf and you want to get good. I started aiming at moving targets. I played my first round of golf with some of my brother's friends. My brother is 6 years older than I am, and so all of his friends were older than I am. And I was probably about, maybe 11 or 12, maybe. And they were like, "Hey, man, we're gonna go play golf. You want to go?" And I'm like, "Well, I had the day off, right? So, because I had a job, I had a summer job. I worked with all those idiots. And I was like, you know what? I've never played before. Is it cool?" And they're like, "Is it cool? Golf is so cool. So I'm like, yeah, okay. Go play golf with you guys. So I did it. And I played through my first 9 holes, and it was absolutely terrible. And then I think maybe it was the ninth hole. Oh, bro, I'm I'm the worst person to play golf with. I'll tell you. I'm gonna keep going. Like I'd love to play golf with you just because so you could see how this pans out. It's been years, but I know I still got the touch. So I think it was a ninth hole. It might have been like the 12th. I don't know, but I think it was a ninth hole. I'm out there. I got my grandfather's clubs, which I still have somewhere, because to me, you can't beat the heft of like that heavy. Whenever they say a wood, oh, it's a 3 wood. Like hell yes, this thing was made of wood, and it flexed like no man's business. So I'm out there, and it's a par three, uh, downhill onto a small, man-made island or whatever. But sitting on the island were a bunch of geese, and my buddy was like, this whole time I've been sucking so bad. My buddy Steve, he was like, "Hey man, but you can't hit those geese." And I was like, "Yeah, I haven't been able to hit anything all day." Like, I bet you're right. But I decided, I was like, I'm gonna aim for them geese. I'm aiming for them geese. So I got out like it might have been even like an 8 iron, maybe a 9 iron, and I was like, hell yeah, here we go. And I popped it, and sure enough, man, I smacked one goose like square in the back. That thing took off flying, and when my ball landed, it was about 4 inches away from the hole. And I was like, okay, now I know what I need to do. I need to just imagine that everything is a moving target. And I know geese are protected, but they're also assholes on a golf course, so they can protect themselves if they need to, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, man, like I just popped the living shit out of them. And that was cool. And that's what you're supposed to do. So I just assumed, like I just got good because I wanted to do as much damage as I possibly could. I think it worked out okay. I think I did a pretty good job. And that's how I got good at golf. I just imagined everything was a moving target. I actually hit a dude one time. Um, in high school, we were getting ready to go out for a game. I was on the golf team because I mean it was a very small school, so everyone had to do something. And so I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll do golf. You know, I played a little bit, and there was this guy who's really cocky. His name was Butch. I don't know what his real name was, but that's what everyone called him. And Butch, I mean, he really wasn't a bad guy. He was okay, but you know, like he said some smart ass shit to me. He was like, so I spent all my summers working whitewater rafting. I was like a true river rat. Like I believed in the river. You know, I believed in all the people that came from all over the country to work on the river, all the Trustafarians and the true hippies, you know. And Butch was one of those characters, like, you know, he had a mountain bike and it was the most expensive mountain bike. And he had climbing gear and it was the most expensive climbing gear. And he had his own kayak and it was the most expensive kayak. But he wasn't really good at any of them. He was okay. So, I don't know. He mouthed off to me one day, and you know, it was something innocent and silly. And I was like, "Bro, you better take off running. I'm gonna hit you." I teed up a ball, and he did. He took off running. He got about 150 yards out, and pegged him right between his shoulder blades. I still remember the sound he made. It was awesome. And that, again, going back to it, guys, that's the secret of golf. There's no doubt in my mind that the Scottish made a game. It was all about training you on how to hit a ball, a rock, as far as possible. A very small target, not for fun, but to hurt people. Yes, I actually got removed from a tournament one time for throwing my clubs. So I didn't really believe in the whole golf thing. So I just did it because it was fun and it got me out of some schoolwork. So I don't know. And then whenever I got to college, like they were like, "Oh, we don't have enough people for a golf team." Oh, okay. Guess I'll play golf now for a grade. I actually played it for a grade because my GPA was so low. I played golf. I played golf. I got an A in golf. Yay! There's like a really nice course that I played on in high school that was in Highlands, North Carolina. It's the only like pro uh, course, like PGA rated course in that part of North Carolina. Man, it was so fun. I was just so excited, but I wasn't allowed to be with the pro. His daughter played for the opposing school, and I wasn't allowed to like. He had to supervise. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm that much of a threat to some golf pro's daughter, but you know, whatever. I'm not allowed to be alone with her. And then yeah, he's the one that ejected me from the course because I threw a club. I hate water hazards. Take my ball and they make me lose. Then I have to like buck up enough money for another ball. Come on, man. I'm not the cheapest cheapskate around, but I'm pretty close. Yeah, color, guys. Looks like a bunch of blobs from there, I'm sure, but it looks like a bunch of blobs from here too, but it's okay. I will be working some magic somehow, some way to make these things kind of stand out because they're all piled up on top of one another in my concept art even. Oh yeah. Looking forward to finishing one of these. These knee pieces are like the lower thigh, upper knee, whatever. Like having these guys blend into each other, kind of difficult. So. Turkey Noodle, you play golf or you have played golf or you want to play golf? Like what's the dealio? I don't even know why am I talking about golf? Answer that one first, because I'm confused why I started that conversation. Yeah, okay. Can see that. Can see that. So I've played a few different ways. Um, Probably the best and worst way to play it is some friends of mine decided we would get together and do one beer per hole. Our golf game did not improve, and neither did our driving of the golf cart. But still fun. I actually probably in any other location other than Georgia, I would say I like walking the course more than I like riding in the course because I can kind of get an idea of the general terrain. But I think if you're a good golfer, which I'm not, just happen to be really good at hitting moving targets. If you're a good golfer, then yeah, it doesn't bother so much. Yeah, yeah. I would I say on the beer per hole, like playing 18 holes was a bit much. I think that we got rained out at 16, and since we were far along as we were, um, we were unable to drive home. It's okay. I mean, I can think of worse things, like trying to drive home and not being able to. That would have been bad. Yeah, I'm not sure where my clubs are. I think so. My senior year of high school, whenever I got my first real set of clubs, it was my grandfather's old clubs. Um, and I made this deal with him. Like he bought me a car, and so I made this deal with him that like I wouldn't drive anywhere except for school, right? And and I wouldn't have anybody in the car because I was an inexperienced driver. all these things, you know. And so I had his clubs, which I was borrowing at the time, even though they were, you know, from like the 70s, they were still like they were amazing. I loved them, and he paid a good, you know, he paid a pretty penny for them back, you know, back in the day. They were top of the line at that time. But you know, golf technology has come a long way. Anyway, I had him in the back of the car, and I was taking one of my buddies um, to his house against the rules before a golf practice, and uh, and I took this turn that was marked at, you know, like cautioned at 25 miles an hour, and I took it at 60. So on one side there was a mountain wall, and on the other side there was about a 12-foot drop. So I was taking the curve way too fast. I started heading for the mountain wall. I cut way too hard, and I ended up going off that 12-foot drop. And and I mean, the car was not okay, but you know, it was still weirdly drivable. So I got my buddy to his house, and I get out of my car whenever I get back to my house, and I notice, you know, axle was broken on the car, like all this problems and everything. I open up the trunk, and every single shaft of every golf club was snapped. And so, like, you know, I worried so much about telling my grandfather what had happened. And I eventually, like, you know, he came home. I parked in a different area where he couldn't see where the car was, you know, like on the regular, not trying to hide it from him. And so, you know, as soon as they got home, like I, you know, swallowed like whatever pride that I had, and I was like, hey, told him what happened, and I told him about his golf clubs, and he said, "Go get my golf clubs." So I went out to the car and I got his golf clubs. I brought them to him, and he said, "You know, you will never, you know." Well, first he said, you know, he didn't say anything about it. He just took the golf clubs, and then like 2 days later, you know, he's like, "I sent the golf clubs off to get repaired. You know, I would ask you to pay for them, or I would make you pay for them, but you can't afford that, blah, blah, blah," you know. And so I felt, you know, really bad, really ashamed. But I also thought he was kind of making stuff up, you know, like, oh, I can't afford to fix like, you know, 70 or 20-year-old golf clubs. Haha, you know, like you're just pulling my leg or whatever. And so, anyway, like a couple of weeks later, the golf clubs come back, and they have like this custom, like, wrapping on them. The shafts are like super nimble. Like it was really weird because it was like super heavy wood clubs, like literal wood clubs, and these, you know, brand new like shafts that were custom fit for like somebody that's like 5'11" to 6'2", which fit him, who, you know, he hadn't golfed in forever, and it fit me. And so he's like, "You want to, you know, go out in the yard and give him a try?" And you know, he had a pretty big yard, and I was like, "Heck yeah, I want to go out in the yard and give it a try. My clubs are back, baby." So it was really weird because yes, it's true that they did have a, you know, a shaft. Um, what was what they had was like a really new shaft that was meant for a much lighter head on it. So I swing the golf club, and it was like I could visualize, I could see uh, the head catch up to what I had, you know, where I had swung with the, you know, the handle and the shaft, and it was just comical how far behind it was my actual swing. But it, you know, it helped me like visualize, like, okay, this is where the ball, this is where the shaft is going to run, this is where the ball is, it's going to hit. And it was just so much easier, and I was like, this is amazing. And he's like, "Oh, you like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like this." And he's like, will never touch my clubs again for as long as I live. I was so sad. Like, why would you do that to me? Why would you show me how awesome these clubs are and then not let me play with them? Sure enough, I didn't touch those clubs again until after he died. I think they're still at my grandparents' house too. Well, I guess it's not their house. I guess it's my house, but I have to keep reminding myself I own land. Weird. I'm not the kind of person that owns land. I'm the kind of person that owns like a shitty car that doesn't run. I own the fine for the oil drippings. Yeah, deep cut indeed. Yeah, it's pretty nuts, man. It's pretty crazy. And I'm sure, like, like I've played with all kinds of clubs since then. I've played with really expensive clubs. Played with really, like, cheap clubs. All right, so I am going to, I think this is a five. I'm actually going to pull out a liner and I'm going to go around some of these little these little flowers. I wish that I could get a little bit closer so you guys could see. Maybe I can a little bit better. So I've got, ooh, there we go. I've got a little bit, like, I've got the petals. They're actually in there. They're actually not in a bad position. But these flowers, they grow on top of one another, so they're supposed to be blue back behind them. But if I don't line them, how would you ever know, right? So I've got like really small, very fine liners. I love these things. I love these things so much. But you have to have like the steadiest hand to make it count. So this is an 8 size needle and a 5 grouping. Your standard needle size is a 12. That's like whenever somebody says, "Yeah, we're going to use a standard needle." Like if you go and get like a tattoo, we're going to use a standard needle, blah blah blah. What they're talking about is they're going to use the 12 size needle, and then a grouping. So this is very very tiny for a liner, and we'll see how that plays out. Um, that's actually not okay. There we go. So I want this sticking out about 2 millimeters, and I'm going to speed this up quite a bit, and we're going to line with that bad boy. I don't know. Let's see. It's a very tiny needle. Um, Before I do that, I'm gonna have a little sip of the juice. All right, a little sip of the juice, and we're lining with black, guys. Here we go. Probably should have done the lining first, but I like to make things a little difficult for myself, so we'll see. What I was really trying to do is just make sure that I didn't line the middle, if that makes sense, because I really wanted to make sure that the center of the flower is not compromised by the black color. I didn't want to put a bunch of yellow dots in there because, you know, then, I mean, what if I had that outline there and then I didn't appreciate it? I've got this yellow dot for no good reason. It's kind of letting me like a little bit of free form, not a lot. Which is good. If I have too much if I have too much freedom on my hands, then I will definitely mess things up for sure. So what I'm going to end up doing is after this, the spaces in between, I'm going to go back with the blue and just kind of run that up a little bit. Um, there shouldn't be a ton of space between them now. A little bit. You guys can kind of see a little bit like how I did the flowers. Like, um, I know it's not, best fidelity for a camera angle. I'll work on that. I really enjoy having your guys' feedback on some of the stuff that I do. I would say all the stuff, but I don't want to hear any negative. I don't want to hear any negative feedback, right? No one likes that. No matter how constructive it is, let's be honest, guys. Sometimes you just want the best reviews. No, I'm kidding. I appreciate everything you guys have to say. And I've been so looking forward to actually putting in these little flowers. I can't even tell you like how much how much it means to me to be, getting close to one of these, knee pieces being done. Um, I feel like since I designed them probably around week 3, here I am like week 10, and I'm still like scared to touch them. Kind of turn into a little bit of a muddy mess, but trust me, totally worth it, guys. Totally worth it. Yeah, and I really enjoy doing that. The more I get to play some of the designs and work on how things go together, the more fun I have with it. And if you're not having fun, what are you even doing it for? So I watched this YouTube guy today, um, and he's like he's a professional tattoo artist, uh, and his whole like it was like a very short video, but his whole thing was whole talk was somebody asked how if it's easy to tattoo yourself, and he gave the answers that you want to hear, like Hey, idiot, don't tattoo yourself. That's pretty much it, you know. And then it was like, but if you do follow these rules, you know, these guidelines or whatever. Good guidelines, good rules. Not gonna lie. Definitely made a lot of sense. But when it came to, you know, is it easy? His answer was still no. Like, it's not easy to tattoo yourself because a lot of people they get really nervous whenever they tattoo themselves. You know, there's a lot of adrenaline, like all this kind of stuff happening. But if I could be like deadly honest, like after a while, like the excitement of doing it is still there, but the fear of doing something wrong, like after you have done so much wrong, guys, I'm telling you, like there's no fear of doing anything wrong. I've already done it. I've already done all the wrong that you can do. Now I just get to go back and, you know, work on some pieces that I was really excited about from the start. Yeah, the idea of like it being difficult tattoo yourself. A lot of people point to painful it is. Telling you, it's not that bad. I don't think that you've lived until you tattooed yourself. Order the machine, do it. No, I'm just kidding. Like in all honesty, like don't do this shit. It's such a bad idea. Such a bad idea. Terrible idea. Terrible. I've I've often sat here and like worked on a tattoo, and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? And then I'm like, oh yeah, because it's cool. Because I like doing it, not because it's actually cool. It's not cool. This is a super loud machine. Really appreciate it. Definitely know when you're working. That's for damn sure. All right. I'm going to switch back my lovely 5 round shader. Standard size needle, 5 grouping set for this. Like, as opposed to this. Yeah. In case you guys didn't understand shader configuration, do it. All right, so I'm going to go in and fill in some of these spaces uh, back behind the flowers that I did with some blue. And I'm going to do it kind of, you know, a little bit on the sketchy side. Not sketchy like, you know, how your cousin or your Uncle Mike touches you, but like sketchy like, you know, the freak one, if you will. My cat is being an absolute moron tonight. I love him to death, but you know, come on, bro. Calm your jets. Calm them down. He does this whenever he knows like I'm indisposed, but There you go. Gonna knock over a whole chair. What a dick. I'm not gonna like shout his name because I did spray him with water though. Oh, you little punk. Oh yeah. All right, let me fill in some of these. What? What's up? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Happy to have you here. Not sure if it was me spraying the cat, calling him a dick, or tattooing myself that got the follow, but I really do appreciate it. Thanks for joining. So go ahead and mix a little bit in the barrel. Go for a little, just a tiny bit of black, really light, guys, like super light. And what I'm doing is I'm going in behind the flowers. Again, sketchy, not quite scratcher style, if you will, but I'm sure some professional out there somewhere disagree. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of setting this in the background a little bit instead of keeping that in the foreground. Not too big of a deal. Just darkening it up just a tiny bit. We're not trying to have everything in the forefront, right? If everything is in the forefront, then nothing is in the forefront. Common design knowledge, right? Like it's the same thing. If you are at work and your boss says all of the things that I've told you to do are important and they're the most important, and that's the priority is everything, then nothing that your boss has told you to do is important. None of it. They can't prioritize. They shouldn't be expecting you to prioritize. So, all right. Very minimal. Man, I really wish that would. Come on. All right. Well, maybe one day it will. All right. I'm gonna rinse this out. We are gonna work on putting the yellow centers in these flowers. Because what's a good flower without a yellow center? Say the new subscribe, like whenever that noise makes happens, like I purposely set it to make a cool, very something that I could easily point out and be like, oh, that's a new subscriber. But every time I hear it, I'm like, what the hell is that? But I know what it is now. It's rad. That's what it is. Okay, so here we go. A little bit of yellow. Yellow is tough because it's super light. You don't want to overwork it, as I have a tendency to do. Um, Definitely want to stretch the skin. Get it in there. Pack it in. I go in circular motions. I like to make sure that what I put in the skin stays in the skin because I'm taking the time to put it there. If I take the time to put it there, damn it, it should stay. Now, purposefully also, like something that I would not have done early on, because I used to believe that you could just tattoo a color on top of a color, and to some degree you can do that, but you don't get the same vibrancy whenever you do that. And sometimes, like if you tattoo yellow right onto blue, guess what you're going to end up with? That's right, green, my folks, green. So let's try to stay away from that. Let's leave the center of these beautiful blue flowers open. And that way, when we add the yellow into that open spot, it will be as vibrant as the blue itself. And really, that's what we're looking for. A little bit of vibrance, you know. Just trying to make it pop a little bit, make it make sense. You know, it doesn't make sense to outline everything, but uh, I have definitely noticed that my tattoos that are outlined with a strong outline, a strong dark outline, uh, tend to be so much better. Just that contrast makes it pop, especially from a distance. You know, instead of having like this blue, blob off to the side, I've got flower shapes, flower colored, like flower colored centers. I mean, kind of hard to be like, hey man, what the hell is that? Well, what does it look like? So, uh, again, I know you guys can't see too well. I don't know what this thing's problem is, but where I'm putting this in, where I'm putting this yellow in, it is it is deep. There is blood. It it's not so deep as to be a blowout because I have yet to have one of those, and I don't want one. But it is enough to bleed. So I won't get to enjoy this yellow probably for a few days until this heals up. So, but I do know it's there. I do know that the color is good. I love this color yellow. I try to use, you know, uh, reasonably good, good inks. Something professional grade. I try to order those things. Sometimes it's difficult because a lot of the places I want to order from, they're like professionals only. It's like, what do you think I'm trying to do? Do you think I want like shit ink? Like, no, I want the professional ink, like I want the good stuff. Why won't you let me have the good stuff? But whatever. There's always a way around. So that's what I found. And so I use a pretty, I like the inks that I use. I do have some dark green that I'm going to use real quick. I have some kind of some flower areas right here. This is a really small, even though it's a shader needle that I'm using right now, it's still a rather small shader. So you're gonna have to forgive me if it gets lost in my skin there. I have not had necessarily good outcomes with this particular shade of green. This is a dark, super dark green that I'm using. But I am hoping that the black outline that I put where this foliage is will, as the green lightens up, maybe the black will show through. Actually, that's not too bad. I don't know if I want it to get any lighter than that. That's a pretty damn good green. I tried to mix this green with yellow. I think that was the problem. So I get like a kind of a sun shine gloss of a leaf or something. It did not end up well. So hopefully this works out a little bit better. And inside of here, Get a little bit of green, like some vines growing in back behind that. And I put a little bit of a rinse on here, nothing much. Just want to see where we are, how we're hanging here. Not too bad, honestly. Pretty happy with that. One thing that I did want to do, oh, this is gonna suck. All right, so I did put some green on the rose. I had some rose leaves. I got two up here. I've got one down here on the bottom. I actually like this green a lot more than the green that I used before. And since I already planned on outlining this, that's what we're going to work with. See if I can kind of shift this around a little bit to make a little bit more sense. There we go. It's about the same, but a little bit closer. So I'm going to stretch this leg out, or this knee out, this knee skin. Knees are tough, man, because like they bend. You spend a lot of time like as a kid, like you learn to ride a bike. What do you hit? Your knees, your elbows, your face. I don't know, but like knees take a lot of damage. So good luck, knee. And the bad thing is too, like I tense up. I don't want to tense up. Things got to stay somewhat reasonably like able to be stretched, I guess. And then I also want to make sure that this is deep enough that it lasts forever. Because you guys can already see, like, I tried to lay in some color before, and it did not stay. And the reason that it did not stay, reason one, is because I suck at aftercare. Bro, I wish that I was good at aftercare. I wish that I was half as good at aftercare as I was at, like, breathing, I guess. I don't know. A quarter, an eighth. An eighth is good. I don't know. Something, I don't know, a reasonable amount. But anyway, like I stuck at it. And because of that, the green did not stay. It was not dark enough. It did not make any sense. And then it just fell out. So I think that that's reasonable right there. That's a reasonable color green. I like that. That is actually really damn good color green. What? Why didn't I have good luck with this before? Shh. Please. All right. Got one little leaf right here. Got one leaf right. This is the tiniest shader ever. Probably not the best color packing, and probably not at this voltage. Oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? I know what I'm doing with my life. I'm stretching the skin and I'm packing the hell out of it. Look at this tiny little doodad. All right. So again, this is a 5 round shader, super small, standard size needle. Man can only do so much. Yeah, color. And then I do have this leaf that's right beside it. I'm actually going to say that it's behind it, and the way that I'm going to show that is leaving a space between them. And it's a very small space, like enough to where it could be considered a highlight, maybe. You know? All right. Rinse. That's one of my favorite things to do. Love throwing that. The only bad thing is this soap actually irritates the skin, makes things welt up. It's kind of hard to tattoo, but whatever. You know, I mean, feels good. Makes you feel good to do it, right? So there we go. We finally have the forget the knots. Not terribly happy with the background behind them, but I think that that'll come with time. And then I have some rose flowers. Now the next thing that I wanted to do, and this should be fairly quick, is I want to outline this entire thing. Like I want to outline all around here. This, you know, I might want to outline the rose itself, separate from the skeleton. But I definitely want this. I want a nice, strong outline. I want it to be very I don't know, just very like legible. Like I want that to stand out. I had a lot of really good luck with the, you know, that one jawbone tattoo that I did, and I really like how it stands out. And I'm not going for that strong of an outline, but I do want this to be rather powerful. You know? So I've got a 9 round liner sticking out a little bit too much. There we go. And I'm going to use that with straight black, and we are going to go in and find ourselves some smoothing lines, right? I mean, if you're tattooing, you might as well be tattooing like hardcore. No shaky lines, just a good strong pull. Let's surround this thing with some love and really just kind of pack that lining in there, stretch the skin, and do it. Get it done, right? Okay. That bold outline will really help. Um, I get to stare at these things like all day if I want to. I can say that like I know that from any type of distance there might be some confusion. What the hell is that? A mother might say in Walmart as she passes by a toddler in the cart. Maybe she needs to say, "Oh crap. Jimmy, don't look at that. It's a skeleton. Jimmy will be like, that's badass. And she'll be like, don't talk like that. And, next thing you know, I'm little Jimmy's hero. 20 years down the road, he'll be doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. All because of a super easy to see, legible ass skeleton. Gonna be a little Jimmy's hero. Gotta do a good job. I don't want him to go through life wondering, you know, is that what I saw? I think I saw a skeleton on that dude's sled? That badass dude? That badass tattoo? Yes, Jimmy. That poor kid, my ass. He's got a hero, buddy. You know how awesome it is to have a hero? What a lucky kid. You have a hero, Turkey Noodle? Hmm? Is there an adult that you look up to besides me? And I guess Goofy Palmer's. I know he's kind of an adult sometimes. Did you legit stop farming like Diablo 2 so that you could like tell me what a poor kid Jimmy was? Because I'm telling you, man, it doesn't work out. I hear you. I hear you. You patriotic mamma jamma. I'm back this way. Yeah, so much better whenever it's outlined. I'm just gonna do everything in a nice comic outline. The thing I don't do portraits. Everybody looks like they came from a comic book. Ooh, gifted. voltages on me for no good reason. This power supply, man, like I'm not sure about it. I'm sure that it's trying to kill me. It's about all I got. There it goes. Just shifted back. I don't know, man. Not sure what's going on with that thing. I like looking. Jeez, what the hell is going on here? Maybe something's wrong with the cord itself. Yeah, it's got to be the connection here. I'll work on that. Even though I'm doing like a bold outline on this, I'm still moving the machine in a like small circular patterns um, to ensure that I'm not getting a like a streaky outline. You know, like definitely want this to be strong and black, like really bold. No question about it. Outline, not like a streaky. The hell is that? Why do you make everything dark on outline? Is that didn't do any damage? I hit the side there with the needle. All right, so as soon as I get done with this outline, then we're gonna call it a night. Because I think like that's gonna be pretty much the most damage that I can do to my skin, and still go to bed and be like, hell yeah, that was rad. No, but seriously, like I didn't really want to get too much more into this. This is like a, I guess you could say like it's a passion project, you know? Not really one that I've been like, okay, that's my moneymaker, you know. I am happy with it, don't get me wrong. Like there's a lot of things going on with it that excite me. Uh, and I just keep adding to it because to me, like it's not, it's not done, and that's good. Like I don't want to call something done and it not be done. I don't really want to overwork it, but I would rather know that I put in the work, um, and I got this that's something pretty badass to look at, than be like just tired of it and ready to throw in the towel because the techniques I haven't learned the techniques yet. You know, so rather than beat up my skin trying to figure out some techniques and doing a lot more trial and error than what would be necessary, I really like just wanted to get in tonight and get those forget me nots colored with that nice blue and put this outline on. Um, those goals are almost ready. Like I've almost got this to a point where I can be like, okay, what I set out to do is what I did. But make no mistake, guys, like is most definitely like I have a little bit more finesse that I want to add to the rose itself. And it's going to take some time. I have a little bit more finesse that I want to add to the bones. That's going to take some time. But I have the time. You know, this isn't a banger that I'm just trying to throw together and stop working on. Like this is like a legit like fun project for me. So it just keeps on going. Wish I could let's see if there's a better angle. I still keep getting like shit angles for this thing. Might be white. Oh, so close. I've used so much black on this thing. It is ridiculous. Now I'm definitely going a little bit lighter around this area because some of those rays, it's like sun rays, are very close, and I don't want to outline like ruin the outline of the rays. That makes sense. I don't want to add an outline where the rays interfere, I guess. Design choices. That's all that is. Ooh, I know. Let's do that. Boom. So much better. All right. Mhm. Come on. Really? Oh, hell yeah. I just want to put a black outline on everything. Oh my gosh. It's so gorgeous. It makes everything more legible, you know? It might not be like the right thing to do. It is most definitely not the wrong thing. The wrong thing to do would be to have super graphical tattoo and no one be able to see it. That would be the wrong thing. That would just be a shame. Such a shame. Thing is, the filth nasty. No. Um, get back on this area. Hey guys, top of the knee still hurts, just in case y'all were wondering. Definitely not the most comfortable place to put ink into your body using a needle. But, you know, look at that nasty thing. That thing's horrid. Oh, terrible. Spray down and see what we got. Oh, man. All right. So I guess now would be a good time to kind of explain a couple of pieces here. All right. So forget me nots, like thumbs up. Those actually look pretty good. Happy with that right now. I'll probably have to go back in the background and fix that, even though there's a couple things that I wanted to try. All right. Part two. Rose. The rose could use a little bit of work. Not a whole lot, I'll be honest with you. Like, there's not a ton of things that I would do to the rose. Just, maybe some fine black lines, some finer light lines, things like that to kind of tone it out. Um, the bones, like, I definitely want to go in. I want to do like a good solid ivory that fades off. Like, I kind of want it cartoony, but I also want like some realistic light shading. So expect that in the near future. And then this spot right here, I know that this is a confusing spot. The issue is that this guy is opposite of this guy. This guy's old school boxer. Guess what old school boxers wear? You guessed it, boxers. So this is going to be some shorts. I haven't figured out like if I want to do that black, gray, like whatever. But that will be an exercise in some satiny kind of finish. So looking forward to that. And yeah, definitely, I think the black outline makes it pop a little bit better. Um, Oh yeah, yeah. That definitely it's a lot more legible. So I'll continue along those lines. I might even strengthen up this small area outside of here so that this blue doesn't kind of bleed into that. But I think if you get a little bit closer as it heals, it should kind of go all together. So overall, yeah. Thank you. I like it too. I kind of got the idea because I really one I love using this machine, and I feel like this is its strong point, is to be able to just really put in some color in the skin without overdoing it. And so whether that's a black outline or anything else, I really feel like that machine's strong point, and I really love using it. So I'll continue to do that. I love the style. I love like a good, like an Art Nouveau, neo traditional engraving kind of style. So I'm going to be pushing more that way. Maybe even going back and redoing some of these earlier pieces, just touching them up in that style, so they all kind of start flowing together and work a little bit better together. But what it comes down to is, you guys showed up and watched me do something that is very healing for me mentally, and I really appreciate the attention, the time, and thank you guys for thank you for showing up. Thank you for uh, keeping me company, keeping me straight, and I really appreciate it. That being said, so today, Monday, right? Somewhere around 8 o'clock to whatever. I'm actually falling. I start a little bit early. This machine's really efficient, so I get to end a little bit early. Met my goals, right? Tomorrow, I'll probably be working on something a little bit smaller, something a little bit simpler. And I will probably have, start filling in some of the areas. I have a lot of things on my legs, and I definitely want to start filling in some stuff, making things. I like the patchwork style, definitely me. It gives me an opportunity to experiment with a lot of things. So I'll probably be doing something teeny tiny tomorrow. Wednesday, still kind of off the table, maybe. My regularly scheduled evening Wednesday, appointment has been put on hold for a week. So I may or may not show up on Wednesday. If I do, who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll tattoo myself. Maybe I'll actually whip out the cheap fake skin that I have, and you guys can watch me just jump on the struggle bus to try to keep that stuff clean. And then yeah, I'll be back on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, family time. So as much as I love you guys, I also love my family, and I want to hang out with them, and give them the attention that they absolutely 100% deserve. At least, uh, you know, 3, 4 nights out of the week, as best that I can. I like hanging out with you guys, but I still like hanging out with them more. Anyway, so thanks again for showing up. Thanks for your support. Thanks for the additional follow. I appreciate you. And come back, keep watching. Love you guys, and I wouldn't be able to do this with as much fun and enthusiasm and attention to detail as you know, you guys help me to do. So you know, I do it for me, but I wouldn't be able to do it the same without you guys. So you know, definitely come back by, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good night. Have a good night and have a good day tomorrow.